Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and today we're talking about goals, specifically where you are at with yours. We are halfway through the year approximately. We're finishing up June here. So it's time to take a hard look and say, okay, what have I done in the last 6 months? And I don't know what you picked last year, those of you that are long-term followers of the channel back in January or December, where you were doing your goals for this year. It could have been word count. It could have been financial. You want to sell X number of copies. As you'll see in the next section of the video, so the second half of the video is going to be my screen, and we're going to show you how I did financially and whether or not I'm on track to hit the very audacious goals that I set for the year. But before we jump in there, I want to talk about the goals specifically and follow through and what it takes to close out a year proud of yourself. So now that we're 6 months through the year, you are going to be experiencing one of several emotions. Either you're very happy with where you're at, like, yeah, I'm killing it, or you're some flavor of disappointed. And that can be slightly disappointed, like, yeah, I'm doing pretty well, but not as well as I want to, or that can be horrifyingly embarrassed, like, oh my God, I said I was going to do all these things, and then like January 8th, I stopped writing and I haven't looked back. Regardless of what group you fall into, what you're focused on now is the rest of the year. So from July through December, what are you going to do? If your goal is still word count, let's say that's what you were working on, are you going to double down? Are you going to try and implement a new routine? Are you going to pick up some books on writing faster, like 5,000 words per hour, or Rachel Aaron's 2K to 10K? What action are you going to take? You get to make that decision, but you're looking at the ramp for the rest of the year. So if you're disappointed in your performance, if you're not where you want to be, which incidentally was where I was at last year and the year before, like halfway through the year, I was like, man, this is not going well, which could be depressing. And last year's reaction was not a good one. Last year's reaction, I slacked off and I took some time and I moped, and I didn't do the work that I needed to do. Whereas this year, my reaction is, even though I'm doing really, really well, I know that if I stop pushing, that will change. And so I'm renewing my vigor, and I'm gonna just charge ahead and push myself to really perform in the second half of the year. I don't know if you watched the last video. If you did, it was on dealing with burnout. So to be clear, I'm not doing this with no breaks. I definitely took a break. Like I finished the last novel I was working on, and then I took a few days and just sort of drooled on myself and played video games and watched TV. So I am taking time to refill the well, but I'm still working hard and I'm not taking my eye off the ball. I have specific goals for the rest of the year and I want to hit them. If you're in the boat where you're behind, don't get discouraged. It's definitely something that's really within your purview, like what you do for the rest of the year. And maybe you don't finish and hit your entire goal. If you're like really, really far behind, you've done nothing. But if you get to the end of the year and you say, you know what? July 1st was the day that I turned it all around, and I've been working hard ever since. And even though I didn't hit the annual goals that I set, I did pretty well. I think you're going to feel good about yourself. So use this as an opportunity to reboot yourself for the year. Anyway, let's look at my finances. You're going to hear me mention this too. I groaned a little bit in the video. We're dealing with some large numbers now, and I'm starting to realize more and more that globally, how cultures deal with money is different. In the United States, in California especially, in the segment of the population I'm in, it's not considered that big a deal to talk about these numbers, especially among entrepreneurs, because they're capital. It's not like, it's my money. But a lot of people consider that to be very, trying to think of a nice word, tacky to talk about money, or you're bragging. I want to be clear that's not why this information is being shared. I want you to use this to see how I am growing and changing over time and what works and what doesn't work. I mean, you really can go back to day one of this channel and follow along the weekly videos and see my success. And when I'm doing the work and I'm doing things right, there's the money. And when I'm not, I'm paying a price for it. Well, this year I'm doing things well, and as you'll see in the video, again, there are some very large numbers. I would encourage you to be inspired by them. Again, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just showing you where I'm at. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's jump into that.
Okay, so let's take a look at how I did for the first half of the year. So those that don't remember, for me, finances are everything this year. I had some crazy audacious goals. I wanted to make like $350,000 And I'll link to the goal video in the comments, and you can actually go back and watch it and see what I said I was going to do. And it sounded so crazy where I'm like, I'm going to do all these things I've never done before, and I'm going to start having $25,000 months and do these things that, again, I've never been able to do. But as you can see, here I am on track to do exactly that. So when the pre-order comes in for God's War later this week, I should be at like 29,000-ish, somewhere in there. So I don't think I'll break 30, but I mean, I'll be almost $30,000 in 1 month, which is a huge record for me. And again, not the only source of income. So let's look at the spreadsheet that I used in the video back in January. Where are you, spreadsheets? Ah, there you are. As you can see, I've added a current estimates column since the last time you have seen this. We're on track. Like overall, probably the most important number here is just this total. Like, is this more than half of this? Because this is the whole year goal, and here we are at 6 months. So if I was going to be at half, that means it would be what? Let's see, $175,000. So 175 would be 50%. And when all is said and done, I still have $5,000 or $6,000 coming in, maybe even a little bit more. I should be at about 190. So I'm actually ahead of schedule, which is just crazy. It's insane that I'm able to hit those numbers. I don't know. I feel pompous just saying it, but it's all testament to me making this the priority and saying, okay, Chris, it's not so much about what the next book you're putting out is. It's you have to build an author business. You have to build something that can run primarily without you and get people to do the things that you need done so that you can focus on the writing. And I've been piece by piece building my business all year, and it's getting where I need it to be. So I'm a long way out from where I want to be, but I've made a lot of strides, and you can see that this is rewarding me. So I have definitely hit my goals on every level. Financially, I'm hitting some of those big numbers, and I can't swear that it'll continue. The second half of the year may not be nearly this good. I hope that it is, and I'm going to try to make it that way, but I can't count on that. That's certainly the goal. But even if it's not, the first half of the year, just jumping back here, like this really makes me smile. So if we look at this year, this is probably going to be like $5,000 or $6,000 higher once I get that pre-order factored in. So we're going to say 119. And then this is all of last year, 113. So I beat last year in the first 6 months. And that makes me feel enormously proud. I know tons of people who are doing really, really enormously well as well. They're crushing me in terms of numbers. And I think that's great. I'm so happy for them. But for me, these numbers are incredible. They are really showing me that if I buckle down and I really try and work hard and I focus on important things, that the money's there. It really is. So guys, I don't know where you're at with your goals. I would love to hear in the comments where you are at with your goals and how things are going. Hopefully you're doing pretty well. But you know what? If you're not, that's okay too. Be honest about that. Say, you know what? I stopped on January 18th and I haven't looked back. But today, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to write X number of words if your goal is word count. I'm going to finish the book by this date. It's going to be hard, but you still have 6 months to hit some pretty big goals. So if this year has not gone well for you, you can turn it all around. 6 months can be a long time. Just one last thing looking at the income here. If you look at, back in December, I was despairing. And here we are just 6 months later. I'm really happy with things. Well, you could do exactly the same thing. Turn it around and 6 months later, look back and say, whew, so glad that on July 1st, I decided I was going to turn it all around and make my goals happen this year. Anyway, guys, I do need to get back to the writing. I am plotting Bert 2, which you'll hear more about next week. I'm going to have a series called How to Plot a Sequel. Anyway, I am going to get back to the writing, and I'll see you then.